I'm Steve.
And I'm Les.
And this is another episode of Sip and Play
by Tabletop Tastings.
That it is. Les, this looks complicated.
This is complicated. However, it's a good complicated. This is Path of Civilization, a story of humankind. This is a table hog. This game takes up a lot of space on the table. However, there's a mechanic to it that I haven't quite experienced anywhere else, and I really enjoy this game. In fact, if you're playing, you have to be playing with people that are really into heavy games, I think, to enjoy this.
100%.
It would only take one person that isn't into heavy games to make it a less than enjoyable experience. But there are a few things I really like about it. One of those things is that it's simultaneous play. So each round as you go through it, everyone's kind of doing their own thing at the same time. So rounds, even though it is a big, heavy game, you can play through it in an hour and a half, under 2 hours for sure. And what makes it a little tricky to learn is that every action you take has some sort of reward or benefit. So it can be easy to kind of miss giving yourself little bonuses or rewards. Now, while I love the game, I got to meet the creator's daughter who actually taught this game to me, which was pretty cool at Breakout Con in Toronto in March. But my only complaint against the game is that there is a ton of iconography. And it's not necessarily super obvious what that iconography is. Now, the developers were obviously aware of this because there's a massive glossary that you can refer back to find the information you're looking for. So thankfully, everything's there and can be found, but it takes a few playthroughs to really learn it well and to be comfortable enough to teach that to people. Now, Steve, I think this is the second time you played it. What did you think of the game?
So it looks daunting. When you started setting it up the first time, I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go. But I really do like you said, the mechanics of it. And honestly, like this is kind of the second time we played through, and we just didn't follow A, B, C right away, right? And you just have to follow ABC, and it shows you all of the steps on your player card, on your board, and that's all there is to it. It's not super complicated. I think we made it a little bit complicated for ourselves, just because there is a lot going on.
That's actually a great point because it seems very overwhelming. But to your point, there's A, B, C, D, E, all labeled out on your board. Just follow the letters, and it's much more easy not to miss steps and to do everything correctly in order.
And it's not like you're gonna have to go back to the manual for some of the individual cards as you play through, because you're only playing, like some of them we only saw the second time we played. They were different from the first time, so you kind of have to go back, but that's okay. It's just part of the game.
And what I really like about the game is choices. Every card that you purchase or buy has two sides to it. And it can be played on this side or on that side, and that gives you a completely different set of abilities or really resources type thing. So I like always making those choices because the cards you have are all good. It's, do I want to use them for this good thing or do I want to use them for that good thing? So it's that choice that constantly plays the entire time of the game that I really, really like.
And then you have to burn one, which is so tough.
That's right.
You're like, oh, I gotta get rid of it, and you don't get to play it again.
You never want to get rid of one of them because you want them all, right?
So the second time playing this, it's even more fun than the first time we played. And it's once you start going again, you're like, okay, this is how it goes and runs.
So we've got a game. It's a little bit complex, a little bit of a heavy hitter. What have you brought to pair with it?
Well, I think that this is a pretty good heavy hitter too. We've done a few tastings from these guys, and it's so Starlight out of Indiana. And so Starlight actually started as Huber Farms. I hope I say that right. And really, it's a family-owned and run farm, which is really cool. It's been in Indiana since 1843, so there's a ton of heritage to it, which it also really goes well with our Path to Civilization, because you know that they've had to make some mistakes to get it right to what we're going to enjoy today. And this is a really, really nice expression from them. These guys are known. So Starlight Distilleries, Indiana, they are known for pushing the boundaries of finishing and how they make their whiskey. So they are a grain to glass distiller, which is really cool as well.
So what does that mean, grain to glass?
So they take everything local, and it might even be just from their farms to make this.
Fantastic.
Which is really awesome. So they have their hands in every portion of the process.
So it's kind of like a farm to table at a restaurant. They see it all through from the start
100%.
to the end. Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is really cool, and you can really taste that when you enjoy it. And so I'll just tell you a quick little bit about Starlight again, and especially the one that we're going to talk about. So again, they started out as a farm. You can buy produce, all that. They got into wines. So they're using some of the barrels from their winery to then make the whiskey. So they've got into bourbon, rye, brandy, gin, you name it. Basically, they're making it, which is really, really kind of cool. So this one is the Starlight VDN. So I had to look it up.
It's
so
not
what
like
is VDN?
Not like a VPN where you got to route traffic through a different...
So it's VDN, so Vino de Naranja, and I'm sure I butchered that. It is a Spanish type of liqueur, basically, where they do white wine and orange peels. And when you taste it, you can really taste the orange, which is really quite cool. Yeah. So from the Andalusia territory in Spain, VDN, fresh orange peels macerated in white wine, and it really does pop. I love the flavor of this whiskey. So basically it's a burst of orange in an American whiskey.
And it's interesting too, because I couldn't really taste the orange until you said it, but once you said it, you definitely get it in the hints, and it's in, like it lingers, that little bit of orange flavor.
Yeah, like the second you go for in for a smell, for that nose, you've got the orange right away. But there's some other really nice cues that you get from it too, some spice. And it's a bourbon, so you get that corn, that sweet that goes along with it as well. This particular bottle, so they do like single cask for basically everything. So that one cask, they're gonna finish it in something, that's what you get. This one was from the Rochester Elite Barrel Pickers. So a lot of different groups will go in, they get to select a cask that they like. That cask gets bottled, and this is one of the examples of that.
This would be like a whiskey club then, right? That's had their own version of that bourbon or whiskey. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So like we're part of Southern Ontario Sippers. They've done a few whiskey or barrel picks as well. This is an example of the barrel pick from the Rochester Society, and so it's super tasty. It has a beautiful nose to it, that orange, some spices. I really think that this pairs well with this game, Civilization, Path of Civilization.
So what we've learned today is if you're going to play Path of Civilization, you want to pair it with?
You want Starlight VDN.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. That stuff means a world of difference to us.
It makes a huge difference to us. Comment. Let us know what you think, and keep watching. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a great day.